Hello and welcome to another game. Today we have Unit Fraction War for you. What you're going to need for this game is a deck of cards. You're going to need to remove your face cards. So jacks, queens, kings, and jokers. Take those out and set them aside. On your class notebook, you have an image of fraction strips that you may want to refer to for this game. I've got mine right here. Okay. You're also, before you start the game, you need to pull out an ace. Each player needs an ace. Now, if you're playing together in person, just take two aces out of one deck. If you're playing Zoom, like Mrs. Nelson and I are, you're going to each need to take one out of your own deck. Okay, so that is going to be your numerator, your top number for a fraction. Okay, so how to play. Ooh, I like that, Mrs. Nelson. If you're needing a little extra help there to have your fraction, you can put a pencil or something in to show the fraction line. I like it. Okay, so now I have one for my numerator. I just need a denominator. So that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to pull a denominator out from your deck, and then you're going to tell your fraction. I have 1/9.
I have 1/7.
Now we're going to look at our fraction board here. I'm going to find my ninths, which I don't have on here. They're going to be in between the tenths and the eighths. And sevenths are also not a great one
between the sixths and the eighths.
But if I look at the pattern of how things are going, as the numbers get bigger on the denominator, the pieces get smaller.
Boys and girls, do you want to share with 9 people or with 7 people?
You're going to get a bigger piece if you share with 7 people. So Mrs. Nelson's 1/7 is greater than my 1/9. You leave your ace there, Mrs. Nelson.
Oh, yes, that's right. My apologies.
So now, Mrs. Nelson and I are playing Zoom War, so that makes it a little bit trickier. So I'm going to make a Mrs. Nelson pile up here. She won, so she gets the pile over there.
And this is my pile. When Mrs. Samayo wins, I will push them to her screen, so that will be her pile.
And I'll do the same over here. If I ever get to win one, I'll put them over here. If you're playing regular war at home with somebody in person, just put your cards under your deck and you can keep playing until somebody has all the cards or you feel like you're done.
Just
okay?
Like we played war in class.
Exactly. So we're going to pull another denominator. This time I pulled a 6. So I have 1/6. Mrs. Nelson, what do you have?
I have 1/2.
Do you want to just switch those around for us so that, because the way I'm reading it is 2 wholes.
Yes,
there we
that
go.
is correct. 1/2.
There we go. I don't know if
I was looking at that going, that's not right. I have 1/2. And if I look at our fraction strips, I see that 1/2 is the second fraction in my strip and a 6 is down there.
So if I look at the size of a 6th compared to the size of a half is quite a bit bigger. So again, Mrs. Nelson is going to get that one. Okay, here we go. Next card.
Oh, Mrs. Nelson, you keep pulling the wrong card. I'm all right.
There we go. All right, this time I have 1/3. What do you have, Mrs. Nelson?
I have 1/5.
Okay, so if we compare, here's my 3rd. Here's Mrs. Nelson's 5th. Which one is bigger? I think it's mine this time.
Mrs. Samayo, 1/3. I only want to share that cake with 3 people, not 5 people.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I got 1/6 again.
And I got 1/2 again.
Well, I think we already know how that one turns out.
1/2
give you those.
Greater. Boys and girls, you can play this until someone gets the whole deck or until the time limit is up. Set a timer, have some fun with it. 1/4.
1/6. 1/4. 1/6. Not quite as big a difference in size this time, but 1/4 is still bigger than 1/6. So that is one for Mrs. Nelson. Now, if you're playing Zoom like Mrs. Nelson and I are, and you've run out of time, you can count your cards. So I have on my screen 1 in my pile.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in my pile.
And so that means Mrs. Nelson has 4 that she scored, and I have 4 that she scored. So she actually has a score of 8 cards total.
And I have your card.
And I've got my card for my pile. I have a score of 2. So Mrs. Nelson beat me that round.
Boys and girls, we hope you have some fun. Use the equivalent fraction strips that are in your class notebook for some additional help if you want to print them out, if you want to make them. Actually, what I'll do is I will also put in there a blank one that you can print out if you have that ability. Have fun.
Enjoy.